Obamacare is proving unpopular, even with some of the president's political allies in the labor movement. The AFL-CIO has approved a resolution criticizing parts of the new law. That comes despite efforts by the White House officials to discourage the group from making its concerns so prominent. The strongly worded resolution says the health care law will drive up the cost of union-sponsored health care plans. To the point, the workers and employers are forced to abandon them, to a point that the workers and they're forced to abandon them. Labor unions still support the goals of Obamacare to cut health care costs and provide coverage to all Americans, but they say the law, as it stands now, will hurt union health plans.
On the other side of the political aisle, Sarah Palin is stirring up things as the Obamacare October 1st deadline approaches. Her PAC has released an ad called Just Saying. It's loaded with the latest evidence of Obamacare death panels. Take a look.
The shocking truth about Obama's health care plan. Did that sound like a death panel to you?
The little girl is a prime example of a bureaucrat being able to make that decision with scary things.
This bill was always going to lead to rationing.
But the important thing to remember is that's just one aspect of Obamacare.
I know that sounds scary to many folks. It sounds scary to me, too.
Why wasn't there just more honesty through this whole process?
The former Alaska governor has raised these concerns before. The difference now is some far-left Democrats actually agree with her.
In just a few weeks, Congress must decide whether to pay for Obamacare in the federal funding bill. Tea Party conservatives like Senator Ted Cruz are calling on fellow lawmakers to defund the law. And their pressure has finally convinced House GOP leaders to take a step in that direction. For more now, we are joined by Gail Trotter of the Independent Women's Forum. Gail, first let's talk about this defunding deal in the House. Explain it for us. Will it work?
Yes, we're down to a very critical 2 weeks in the struggle to defund or repeal Obamacare. And there was talk last week among the House Republican leadership that there would be this trick employed that had a continuing resolution which must be passed before the Congress can fund the government because there has been no budget passed in the last year. So the continuing resolution funds the government going forward. And the trick that the House Republicans were going to try to use is to have a clean continuing resolution that funded all of government, including Obamacare, and then there would also be an addendum that was passed that would defund Obamacare. Now, when this bill would be passed to the Senate for their consideration, Harry Reid would be able to strip out the addenda that would defund Obamacare and send a clean continuing resolution funding all of government, including Obamacare, to the president for his signature. Well, Republicans got wind of this, especially Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, who realized that this would be a way for House Republicans to vote against Obamacare, but actually have no effect on the funding of Obamacare. So what Senator Cruz and his allies in the Senate proposed is to have a continuing resolution that, as part of the continuing resolution, defunded Obamacare. That would be sent to the Senate, and then President Obama and his allies would have to decide whether or not avoiding sending checks to seniors and to military families was worth sacrificing on the altar of Obamacare.
So if the current House Republican leader's idea is just a shell game, is there another way for opponents to strike the funding?
Yes. If this continuing resolution is passed that does not have it as an addendum, but has in the language of the continuing resolution itself that Obamacare would not be funded, then would really shift the burden of the decision of whether or not to shut down the federal government to President Obama, his administration, and his allies. And this is a point where you look at the history of it. Republicans who are in the House of Representatives right now, they all ran on either defunding or repealing Obamacare. And we know that this is a critical 2 weeks because the exchanges go into effect on October 1st. And on January 1st, 2014, the subsidies under Obamacare start flowing. And we also have efforts by senators to prevent the anti-fraud provisions from being unilaterally revoked by Obama and his administration, which was done this summer. So there are many different ways that opponents of Obamacare can help protect the American people who overwhelmingly object to Obamacare going into effect from taking effect.
All right, Gail Trotter, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.